Everybody is looking for the next big power move in global geopolitics, but almost no one is paying attention to the UAE's silent takeover of the Red Sea. In the high-stakes arena of Red Sea geopolitics, the United Arab Emirates has emerged as a new grandmaster, one whose moves are as calculated as they are ambitious. This is a region where the world's most vital shipping lanes converge, and where the balance of power is constantly in flux. The UAE, once seen as a peripheral player, now sits at the very heart of this strategic chessboard, orchestrating a complex game that stretches from the Arabian Peninsula to the African coast. Rather than relying on overt military force, the UAE has quietly maneuvered through economic and diplomatic channels, forging partnerships and alliances that often go unnoticed by the wider world. Its diplomats and business leaders have become regular fixtures in African capitals, brokering deals and building trust, all while projecting an image of stability and opportunity. The transformation of the UAE from a desert outpost to a global powerhouse is no accident. Years of strategic investment in infrastructure, technology, and human capital have given Abu Dhabi the leverage it now wields. Today, the UAE positions itself as the indispensable mediator in the Horn of Africa's latest crisis, using its economic clout and diplomatic reach to influence outcomes that serve its long-term interests. As tensions escalate between Mogadishu and Somaliland, the UAE's intervention blurs the line between peacemaker and power broker. Its involvement raises difficult questions. Is Abu Dhabi genuinely seeking stability, or is it leveraging the crisis to expand its own sphere of influence? For many in the region, the answer remains unclear, fueling both hope and suspicion. By embedding itself in the region's ports, logistics hubs, and security apparatus, Abu Dhabi is methodically constructing a network of influence that extends far beyond its own borders. Control over these critical gateways means control over trade, resources, and the flow of information, making the UAE a central node in a new and evolving web of regional power. The stability of the Red Sea is not just a regional concern, it is vital for the uninterrupted flow of global trade. Every day, millions of barrels of oil and countless goods pass through these waters. The UAE's High Wire Act could foster a new era of prosperity and cooperation, or it could entrench a new form of dominance that reshapes the region's future for decades to come. As the world watches, the UAE moves its pieces with precision and intent, shaping the destiny of this critical maritime corridor. The stakes could not be higher, and the outcome remains uncertain. But one thing is clear, the Red Sea's new grandmaster is here to stay. Since 1991, Somaliland has functioned as a de facto state, holding elections, issuing passports, and maintaining stability, yet remained unrecognized by the world. Excluded from global institutions, Somaliland has relied on unconventional diplomacy, welcoming partners like the UAE, who value practical engagement over formalities. The UAE's recent mediation marks a shift from transactional investment to overt political support, offering Somaliland a path to greater legitimacy. The December 2025 recognition by Israel, reportedly brokered by the UAE, shattered Somaliland's diplomatic isolation and thrust it into the spotlight. Now, the UAE is not just an investor, but a gatekeeper to new diplomatic possibilities, making its role more critical than ever. For Somaliland, this moment is both an opportunity for validation and a test of its long-held aspirations for statehood. The crisis erupted when Somalia's federal government annulled all UAE agreements, asserting its authority over regional deals. Regional states, Somaliland, Puntland, and Jubaland, rejected Mogadishu's move, insisting on their constitutional right to partner with the UAE. This internal schism turned a bilateral dispute into a constitutional crisis, giving the UAE an opening to champion regional autonomy. By siding with regional states, the UAE positioned itself as both investor and political ally, deepening divisions within Somalia. Mogadishu views the UAE's mediation as a hostile maneuver, not neutral peacemaking, fueling a protracted diplomatic standoff. The heart of the crisis, Is the UAE a stabilizer or a self-interested instigator? The answer will shape Somalia's future and the Horn's balance of power. The UAE's influence in the Horn of Africa is built on a sophisticated form of economic statecraft, transforming ports like Berbera into strategic assets that serve both commercial and geopolitical goals. Rather than relying solely on traditional diplomacy or military might, the UAE has chosen to invest in infrastructure that reshapes the region's economic landscape. Through its global logistics giant DP World, the UAE has poured hundreds of millions of dollars into Berbera, turning it from a modest port into a state-of-the-art deep-water facility. This transformation is not just about moving goods. It's about connecting Berbera to Ethiopia, Africa's second most populous country, via a modern highway. This corridor opens up new trade routes, bypassing traditional bottlenecks and giving landlocked Ethiopia direct access to the sea. The new infrastructure fundamentally reorients regional trade flows, creating economic dependencies that tie local economies to Emirati interests. By controlling these vital arteries of commerce, the UAE gains significant leverage, achieving influence and power without deploying large numbers of troops or engaging in open conflict. The UAE's model is a blend of commerce and security. While DP World manages the flow of trade and logistics, an Emirati military presence at key facilities ensures protection, stability, and deterrence against threats. This dual approach allows the UAE to safeguard its investments and project power in a volatile region. This dual-use strategy secures both economic and strategic interests, making the UAE an indispensable partner for regional governments. By offering investment, jobs, and security, the UAE weaves itself into the fabric of local economies and politics, building relationships that are difficult to unravel. The Berbera blueprint is now being replicated across the region, as the UAE constructs a growing maritime network of ports and logistics hubs under its influence. From the Red Sea to the Gulf of Aden, Emirati-managed facilities are reshaping the balance of power along Africa's coastlines. However, this expanding web of influence has not gone unchallenged. When Mogadishu annulled these port deals, it directly confronted the UAE's ambitions, sparking diplomatic tensions and prompting the Emirates to defend its interests more assertively. The stakes are high: control over trade, security, and the future direction of the region. As the UAE continues to expand its economic statecraft, the Horn of Africa stands at the crossroads of opportunity and competition, with global powers watching closely. The Bab el-Mandeb Strait is a global choke point. 1/3 of world shipping passes through its narrow waters. For the UAE, securing this artery is existential, especially with threats like the Houthis in Yemen nearby. By investing in ports and military facilities on the African shore, the UAE creates a buffer and surveillance platform. This presence allows the UAE to offer security guarantees, boosting its diplomatic clout with global powers. Control over infrastructure near the strait transforms the UAE into a gatekeeper of global trade. The struggle for Somaliland is a proxy battle for this leverage. The UAE isn't just building ports, it's securing a permanent seat at the world's trade table. Somaliland's long coastline and strategic location make it a coveted prize for regional and global powers. For Ethiopia, Berbera port offers a vital alternative to Djibouti, reducing dependency and boosting economic growth. The UAE's investments promise jobs and development while giving it influence over Somaliland's future. Somaliland's stability and untapped markets attract investors seeking a foothold in the region. For Israel, recognition of Somaliland expands its diplomatic reach and strengthens the Abraham Accords. The UAE benefits from flexibility in dealing with an unrecognized but stable partner, free from international constraints. Somaliland's unique status makes it a key player and a malleable partner in the Horn's great game. Emirati investment brings Somaliland economic growth and international attention, but also new risks. The Berbera port project has created jobs and revenue, strengthening Somaliland's claim to effective governance. The UAE's direct engagement elevates Somaliland's status, potentially encouraging other nations to follow suit. Yet, dependency on a single patron threatens Somaliland's autonomy, as Abu Dhabi's interests may not always align with Hargeisa's. There's a danger of being drawn into regional rivalries, or becoming a pawn in broader power struggles. The real challenge: harnessing the benefits of partnership without surrendering hard-won independence. Somaliland must balance opportunity with caution to avoid trading sovereignty for development. The UAE's moves in Somaliland have triggered a regional scramble for influence. Ethiopia quietly supports the UAE-Somaliland partnership, securing vital trade routes. Somalia, feeling threatened, has deepened ties with Turkey and Egypt, forming a counterbloc. Saudi Arabia, wary of Emirati ambitions, aligns with Egypt and Turkey, adding Gulf rivalry to the mix. Djibouti opposes Berbera's rise, while Eritrea balances its ties with both the UAE and Ethiopia. Global powers like the US hedge their bets, strengthening security ties with Somaliland while withholding recognition. The Horn of Africa has become a chessboard for regional and global actors, each maneuvering for advantage. The UAE's long-term strategy is clear. It seeks to embed itself as the central power in the Red Sea, shaping a new order that extends far beyond its own borders. This ambition is not just about influence, but about fundamentally redefining the region's balance of power. By positioning itself at the crossroads of Africa, the Middle East, and global trade, the UAE aims to become an indispensable player in regional security and economics. Infrastructure, investment, and mediation are the UAE's chosen tools to create what some call a Pax Emiratica, a sphere of influence built on economic dependency and strategic partnerships. Through building ports, funding roads, and brokering deals, the UAE is weaving a web of connections that tie local economies to its own, making it difficult for regional actors to operate independently. The UAE's facilitation of Israel's recognition of Somaliland is a striking example of its new diplomatic activism. This move signals a coordinated effort to reshape the region's alliances, opening doors for new partnerships, while challenging old assumptions about who holds sway in the Horn of Africa. But this ambitious agenda puts Abu Dhabi at odds with powerful rivals like Turkey, Egypt, and Saudi Arabia. Each of these countries has its own vision for the region, and the UAE's assertiveness is fueling new alignments, diplomatic maneuvering, and rising tensions that could reshape the entire Red Sea landscape. The UAE is betting that its model of rapid development, economic modernization, and tight security will outshine alternatives offered by its competitors. Yet this approach is not without risks. By pushing its own model so aggressively, the UAE may inadvertently deepen regional fragmentation and provoke backlash from those who feel threatened or left behind. For Somaliland, the promise of development and international recognition is enticing, but it comes with significant trade-offs. There is a real risk that economic dependency on the UAE could erode local autonomy, leaving Somaliland vulnerable to external pressures and limiting its ability to chart its own course. The future of the Horn of Africa now hangs in the balance. Much depends on whether the UAE will prove to be a genuine broker of stability and prosperity, or simply the latest outside power to play the region for its own gain, repeating the cycles of influence and intervention that have shaped the Red Sea for generations.